So we need 100 grams of sugar in a non-stick pan. So you can follow me on YouTube. Good evening. So I was saying 100 grams of sugar and a spoon of water. And we go on the stove until we have a caramel sauce. At that point, we will pour it into this kind of baking tin. Okay. So now we have to wait for the caramel to be ready. The caramel. Let me show you. Yeah, you have to trust me. It won't be long. Then we will need 5 eggs, 200 grams of sugar, 800 milliliters of milk, and some aroma. I'm going to use vanilla. Remember to use real vanilla if you have. At the moment I don't have, so I'm using this. Five eggs. So this is called Kodrit Kadir. If you know other names for this cake, you can write me in the messages. I am very curious to know how many other names this cake has. So let me get a bowl. I'm going to put 5 eggs. One. For the chicken. You can easily remove the shell from the eggs with a piece of shell itself, not like I'm doing now. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So you have 1 egg left. You can have it tomorrow for breakfast. Let me put it here. Let's mix it. And in the meantime, I have to take a look at caramel sauce. It's going pretty well. So, I am going to add now 200 grams of sugar. I have to be very careful because the caramel now is going very quick. It's almost done. Grams of sugar, 800 milliliter of milk. It's getting brown. Well, not brown actually, just go. Yeah, 800. So this is 500. This is 500. It's almost there. We got the 300. I think the caramel is done by now. Yeah. Side. It's done. Try to move it a little bit, but it's not important. It's just to get it colder sooner. Profumo di Luna Park. So, profumo di Luna Park. Just wait a second that it has to cool down a little bit. I go on with my flan part. So I put 800 milliliters of milk. Now I only have to add vanilla. Remember to use real vanilla if you have, if you are so lucky. I don't have, so I have to use the chemical one. I will die one day earlier. Okay. So this is my flan part. I leave it aside for a moment and I proceed making the browning part. Let's leave it aside and take another bowl. Forno a 170. Put your oven at 170 Celsius. You will cook it in bain-marie, so into the water. You will need another pan where you're going to insert your flan and pour some water on the side. So I think I'm going to work now with my mold directly into the bigger one. So let's move on to the other part. So we will need another bowl where we are going to put one egg. So sorry for those that were thinking to have breakfast with leftover eggs tomorrow morning. We will need it for the cake. One egg. Sorry guys, no eggs tomorrow for breakfast. Break it a little. grams, I have the recipe. I cannot remember every cake that I made. Every cake I made. Ricordavo la canzone. Added 200 grams of sugar. Let me get the same container. Grams of sugar. You have to mix the sugar with the eggs immediately, otherwise the sugar, the crystal of sugar will cook the egg yolks and you will have a lot of tiny red dots. It's nothing, but it's not nice to see. It's not important in a chocolate cake, but maybe if you're making a custard, it's not as nice. So 1 egg, 200 grams of sugar. Of course, as you know, I'm not gonna write down any recipe of mine. So if you are interested, you have to look at my lives and you get information as soon as while the live goes on. Okay, then we will need 100 milliliters of milk. This is 100. That's all right. Yeah, it's not that much. Just 100, and mix it well. Such an easy thing to do, but very good and nice to see. Okay, 100 milliliters of oil. Usually people prefer to use light oils like seeds oil. I don't like seeds oil, so I'm just using extra virgin olive oil. Of course, not a blue one, because the flavor will be too strong and you will not feel anything else. So let's say 100 milliliters. Milk instead of butter will keep the brownie softer for longer. Looks like a Mario now. It is not. Okay, then 100 grams of flour. I'm gonna put it here. In the meantime, I'm gonna give a stir to the flour part because maybe the sugar has not dissolved completely, so I better keep stirring for a little bit. So we need, how much did I say? 100 grams of flour. Ah, per fare le patate. Mi piace quello verde, vero? So, when you have to add flour to a batter, remember always to sift it. 100 grams. We are making a cake. So 100 grams of plain flour. Now we are gonna add cocoa powder, because as I told you, this is a kind of brownie with a flan, a vanilla flan on top. May sound weird, but it is a very good cake, and it is also very nice to look at. 30 grams of cocoa powder. So I have my cocoa powder here. Buy good one and the bitter one, okay? So 30 grams. I'm just a little bit messy. That's why I have a brown apron. So you don't see anything if I clean my hands on my apron because yes, it has kitties, but it's brown. So let me sift it.
Segreta su Life Tuscany.
I'm going to show you why it is important to sift cocoa powder even more than flour, because you have all these lumps that will not easily dissolve in the butter. So we have to break it to use all the cocoa powder. Another thing, and the last thing that we have to add now, is some baking powder. Usually I don't put baking powder in brownie cakes, but in this case, as I told you, it's a particular cake. I need it. You will understand later why. So let's mix it, and then at the last moment, at the very last moment, we are gonna add baking powder. So I should have. Oh, I have walnuts here. I'm eating walnuts in the meantime. Okay. You know what? I have lost the baking powder. Ho lasciato il lievito di sopra.
Sì.
It's there. Thank you, slave. Baking powder. I love walnuts. And that is 16 grams, but I just need 1 teaspoon. I'm doing something else with the leftover. I have 1,000 of leftover of these tiny bags because all the recipes require for teaspoon, couple of teaspoons. What I have to do with the rest of the leftover? Even the baking powder has to be sifted because usually it has a lot of lumps. 1 teaspoon. Yeah, you see. The last mixing part, and now you see what I'm gonna do. First of all, I'm gonna take this whisk. I'll behave. I'm just do this. Delicious. Yeah. Now we are gonna pour. Things so we are gonna pour the flan butter into this nice mold. And then you know what? I changed my mind. I'm gonna put some vanilla also. Yeah, but then I have to mix again. I don't feel like. Okay. So we are gonna pour the brownie butter on top of the flan butter. I've mixed everything well. It doesn't seem much, but it will grow while cooking. The first time I made this cake, I was thinking, oh my god, I'm losing all these ingredients. What a mess. What is this? And then it came out so good and so beautiful that I keep doing and doing. But the first time it's weird. I know. Especially when I do the double batch, that I have to use a very, very big quantity of all this liquid stuff. Okay, ready for the oven? No, that's not true. I need to add some water. I'm gonna add some water between the two things. Not very full, no. Let me see. Just be careful not to put it into the cake. There's a hole, so you can put it from here as well. Huh? I didn't think. Let me see if it's easier. Gosh, so much easier. So much easier. Water will need to keep the temperature a little bit lower. Ready for the oven. Oven. So the cake is in the oven. About 1 hour of cooking. So I'm gonna close the live because it will be doing nothing. But later I will send you a picture of how the cake is came. Okay, bye. My dear friends of YouTube, you can see the results of the cake in 1 hour more or less on my Instagram profile.